Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Conch's Menagerie and the Lords of Ash Roundtable, Episode 1. We are a gaming group taking a moment to talk about the tabletop hobby, the good, the bad, and the lessons we've actually learned sitting at the table. Welcome to our table. Quick bit of housekeeping. We're all adults, we're veterans, and we've known each other for years. So many years now. Some adult language can come through, especially if any of these guys decide to do anything silly, which will probably happen during this podcast. Uh, Tonight I'm joined at the table by two of my players who are also DMs. Pierce, down below here in the checkered flannel, and Ashton, the studly man wearing the hat. These two are a big reason for our current campaign is going as strong as it is and is actually happening. It's also why this channel is a thing and why we're doing this. So, a little bit of background. Pierce plays a human bard in our current campaign. His dice don't always love him, but he keeps showing up, keeps supporting the table, and keeps the game fun. Outside of the table, he's also started DMing and sharing the hobby with others, which is something we really do value and appreciate around here. Now, my Ashton, plays a Dragonborn Warlock / Sorcerer in our current campaign. He's one of those people that has a natural flair for storytelling. He thinks in story beats and in long arcs, and it shows in our campaigns. The power he brings from his characters is something fun as a DM to play with. He's also running his own table, bringing that same energy and thoughtfulness to his players. These fine gentlemen have agreed to sit down with me on camera, talk about their journey, from first-time players to dungeon masters, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me this evening. How have you guys been?
How do you follow up that? Jeez.
Yeah. Oh man, it's only going downhill from here.
Yeah, honestly, if you wanted anything better, probably just stop the video. No, just kidding. There's good stuff coming, but no, definitely excited. Been looking forward to this actually.
Yeah, super pumped. Happy to be here. That millennial leg right there, that was crazy. Yeah, dude, I'm beyond pumped. We've talked a lot offline about it, and I'm super excited to finally be here and making it happen. So, we got a lot of plans coming down the pipeline, but it all starts here. So, I appreciate you having us.
Well, I appreciate you
Already a
guys taking the
pipe
time
dream
to sit
until
here
we
with
get
me.
through.
Say again?
I was saying all's a pipe dream until you make it happen. I mean, never would have
Yep.
thought you would have started a podcast from literally a random message saying, "Hey, Kyle and I have met up and we talked about getting the gang back together since the deployment. Can we do that?"
Yeah, yeah. The if anyone's followed the channel, they'll notice I've mentioned that my mental health has improved since I got back into gaming. Um, these guys are a big reason because of that, because it is a shared space and a shared communal hobby, and guys talking shit to each other. The amount of crap
Ah.
these guys have thrown at me in the course of a year is intense. But yeah, no, this is definitely. I definitely appreciate you guys taking the time, and I wanted to ask you guys some questions you're familiar with for another side project. I wanted to take the time to ask you general questions as a player. Um, and there's, how many questions are there? About 10 to 17 questions we're going to ask you guys about your time as a player, and then as your time as a DM, and see what made you feel comfortable, or what made you feel comfortable. How you felt comfortable as a player to want to continue playing after you had that hiatus from coming back, and what made you then want to start your guys' own table and tell your own stories with your own players. So we'll start off with the getting started section, which is how did you get introduced to D&D and tabletop RPGs?
Trying to remember what I said last time. um,
I'll let you know. I had
yeah.
no interest in this at all, zero. But when the three of us got sent on a deployment to Ukraine, I had a younger soldier who approached me and saying, "Hey, I really want to try playing D&D. You should join us." And I went, "No, not for me." And he was very persistent and did not stop asking me. And I said, "Well, I mean, it's not like I can go anywhere and I don't have anything else to do." So every Sunday we started meeting, and I never looked back.
Yeah,
It was that
that
guy.
was me. Yeah, yeah, that was me. Guilty, guilty. Yeah, I obviously had heard about it before, but I didn't have that, you know, people experienced or like a DM to like lead the charge, right? And I just never got into that back home. So, like he said, we didn't really have much else to do besides not eat cake so I could pass a PT test, you know. So, yeah, we got a crew together, and I mean now look at us. This is 6, 5, 6 years later, and we're in another campaign that we've been doing for over a year. So, it's a big deal.
Kind of crazy to think
Yeah.
about it.
It still boggles my mind. This is the longest campaign I've ran, and this is the longest group I've had maintained as well. So, big shout out to you guys. So, follow-on question to that is, that's how you got started. What made you want to keep playing after your first few sessions?
It's addicting. I don't know. I was thinking so I remember so a lot of these questions, like you said, we already talked about some of this stuff, but now it's been like running around in my head, you know. So I think it's just addicting. The creativity, the fun, the fact that you can disconnect and play, a different character, or do something that you'd never do, like pull your pants down in front of a dragon, or play songs in front of
Who would do that?
people. Yeah, play songs in front of people and confidently sing in the middle of battle while your friends are doing all the work. Um, Miss like 18 arrow shots in a row. Those are just things that you can't do in real life. But in
No,
D&D,
I could,
you
I
can
could miss
do.
18 arrow shots in a row. I promise you.
Yeah, but it's just I think it's all of that combined. It's just creativity and it's unstoppable.
For me, it was initially just, I don't know. The first session was interesting. It was very slow to start. Um, I just decided to give it another chance, come back, and ultimately, what kept happening was in between each session that we had another story to tell and laugh about and inside jokes. And then it just turned into, oh my God, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. It's hilarious. What's going to happen next? And so it was always that what if, and then that story that you keep reminiscing about. And it's something that I started to kind of get to experience with my now table. And just the hilarity of it is what brings me back. The stories, the memories.
Telling good stories is always a good thing. So, we touched briefly on your intros on your characters, or you're currently playing in the campaign, but let's talk about your guys' play styles and your preferences. What kind of characters do you guys naturally gravitate towards, and why?
Not a bard. Not a friggin' bard, but that's what I am. And honestly, I'm embracing it. I don't know how that ended up, but it's not what I would choose. Um, I think I'm funny, but I don't think I really have any other. No, that's not true. I would probably be a bard, to be honest. Now that I think about it, but no. I think I
I'm still not
gravitate.
like this character. Actually, that's exactly who I
Actually, stand by. I am him. No, I think I gravitate towards my old character, Toolron Lamaloso. He's a elf ranger. It's like the Legolas vibe. It's definitely my play style. I like to play from the back, and be like you know, distance character, supporter, more style. Instead of like being up in the front, beating stuff with a stick, or singing. But here we are.
Man, you pulled that name out from so many years ago. I was like, because our former characters were like brothers, like
Yeah.
Roland, Nilo, and Tuleron. Another,
Yeah.
I was a Shadow Elf, by the way. Was it a rogue?
Yep.
And
I want to loot
God,
the
it was
body.
the first thing my character always wanted to do was just loot bodies. You know, he was from the underworld. All he cared about was just what he could take off him to get another advantage. But it almost to a point where he was annoying, and he was annoying other players for sure. Chris, sorry, I apologize. If you're watching this,
I slit my wrist.
Oh,
See,
Jesus.
inside jokes.
yeah, no, to be honest, I think I picked a rogue because I heard that that was like the easiest way to start and get into it. I mean, I really like the aspect of sneaking around. I mean, playing the games that I have growing up, really big into that. But as I've gotten further into it and understanding more of the lore and the character options, I just want to tell a good story. That's all I care about. I mean, it came through with this new character, Ashton, and I was coming in after talking to Pierce down below about getting started back up, and man, I just ran with it. I just had so much fun starting a story and creating this background information, even if I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. But that's what I look for in a character, is just trying to bring someone to life. And then the more I learn about the character, the more I can kind of get into the role play aspect.
A quick side note to the listeners, if we have any. Ashton's backstory was chef's kiss. Um, it was so well developed, it helped to set up the arc of our current campaign. And then as we started playing, everyone else was able to be tied in. I appreciate you so much for that. That made my life so much easier.
I also
Oh.
want to
Man,
make the
what a
point that
story.
we still don't know everything about Ashton, and and so that's and that's something incredible about D&D, right? Is my character is like a normal human guy who loves maps and stars and fishing and all these things, right? Um, and yet he's fallen into a group of misfits that are kind of like doing some shady stuff, like I'm not a pirate, but I have done piratical things, is my saying. And it's crazy because we've been doing this for a year, and we've been like our characters have been on an adventure for months. you know I don't even know how long, to be honest. And we still don't know everything about each other. And so each session, we learn something new about each other, and that's characters and like real life. Like, the power of role play is insane. It's truly incredible.
And
That's
that's
a good
something too.
segue into
It's one of the most uncomfortable things, and I'm gonna tie in like the DM aspect too. Is that like it's super uncomfortable when you're getting into it because you're worried about how everybody else is gonna perceive you. But the more you get into it, the better it's well received. And it comes from a place of you just enjoying what you're doing. Like no one cares if it's like A tier or S tier, whatever acting skills. No one cares about that. All they care is that you're having a fun time and laughing through it, you know? And like I had a brand new group. So these people have never played D&D before. And this was like, I mean, I ran one session. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to try DMing for my first time ever with a group of brand new players. And one was just kind of talked into it because the rest of them wanted to try. And he's like, well, I'm part of the group. I guess I'll be here. Ends up being the most enthused and the most role playing out of the whole entire group. You never know what you might get into.
those are definitely valid points. It kind of leads into the next question too of what parts of the game excite you the most. So, is it the combat, the role play, the exploration, puzzles, etc.? I
The
mean, we kind of touched
women.
on this, but oh, when your wife comes out and beats you with a frying
Yeah,
pan.
yeah, yeah. No, I deserve that. Uh, yeah, I I think we touched on some of the things, right? For me, it comes down to that role play, right? When as like the main thing, right? You're getting to be someone else and go through a different adventure with its own consequences and its own rewards, um, be it good or bad, right? And that the fact that it like we think about it because we're trying to play once a month. The fact that I play one day and then I'm thinking about whatever decision I made or the song I wrote or how many times I miss, and like the effects of that, and I think about it 29 days out of the month. Like that's big, I've had dreams about decisions that I've made or backstories and stuff. Like especially when you're creating a story. I mean, this probably happens more as a DM. It's like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. But even as a character, and I guess specifically for me, is excuse me, turning the story into a book is something that I've been working on, and so there's a lot I don't know, but it's from my character's perspective, and so being able to role play, I'm making decisions based off my character's knowledge, not off of me, which I have a good to run off a little bit. I have a good story about that, if you don't mind, Ganch.
Right.
In our first campaign, I don't really know exactly where we were, what we were doing, but I know we were in a cave of some sort. And there was like multiple levels in this cave, and I was like at the bottom, and there's this big dark like entrance or something. And my character just yeets a torch into the darkness, and everybody's like, "Why would you do that?" And they were all mad at me for the decision that I made because they knew an enemy was in there, but I didn't because my character didn't know that. He just saw darkness and he wanted to make it light, so he did. And in turn, there was a big baddie over there, and I think it went fine. But it's just that perspective thing, right? And getting to role play, like you, it is really cool when Ashton acts as his character and I act as Pierce, and we converse as two completely separate people. Like it's just it's so much fun. It's unique.
We're the one talking to each other the most.
Yeah, yeah, we are. Yeah, we do a lot of role play, and in our first campaign and in this one, I knew it was gonna happen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was so here for it. I want to. Yeah, I'll echo off of that. I feel like and it was hit so hard being brand new players, understanding what metagaming is. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's trying to utilize knowledge that's given in the game to certain individuals, but not shared with the rest of the party, but then using that information even though your character doesn't know it. And that was just, always a point of frustration is trying to have other characters act as if they know what's like something's off or you must be hiding something like you wouldn't know like in everyday life you would never know if someone's trying to keep a secret or if someone makes the smallest like tell, but in the game a set of dice will help you there.
Yeah.
Like if you were curious on whether or not you pick up on something, Ganch here, well, which stands for something which I don't know if you've actually ever shared, but it's right here on the screen. God of nicotine, caffeine, and hate. It's very fitting. But yeah, you get to use a set of dice to tell you whether or not you're successful or not. But then it's just abiding by that. And that's the most fun part is it's not always the successes. A lot of it is the successes, right? Ridiculous ones. But it's the failures. The failures make this game so much more fun. But also, side note, to go back to the original point, what I like about it, aside from role playing, literally every aspect. I am a balanced player. I want to role play. I want to dungeon crawl. I want to fight. I want to roll dice. I want to kind of go through obstacle style courses. Like I remember being a new player and being like, you try to jump over this crevice, and like you have to roll whether or not you're successful. You got to climb up this wall, and there was just so many points where you're just failing in a ridiculous way. That's what's great about D&D.
I think our party member might have to handle an encounter quick. He's got it. Okay. So I guess that leads us up to the last question on the playstyle and preferences is: do you guys prefer structured, tactical, or loose narrative first play?
I think I said narrative and loose before, and I think I'd stand by that if that's what I said. That's what I'm saying now. I think with our sessions, we focus on the narrative stuff and what do you want to do type thing, and a lot of our role play stuff. But then there's normally a battle scene in there somewhere, whether it's Gotch's choosing or not, because we cause issues. Do you remember the sneezing powder? That was wild. But anyway, yeah, I think that's really important because especially when you get into bigger groups, if you're focusing too much on the battle stuff, it takes a long time to go around the table, and then you got some people sitting there for 5 minutes, spellcasters, and like certain things. Uh, I'm not looking at you. He looks at you. He looks at you. Sorry. So many inside jokes are coming right now. But
Sweet,
yeah.
sweet.
Oh God. Yeah, I think narrative is my play style. I love the story. I love puzzles and solving and decision making, right? Because like you said before, that's what makes or break the game, whether it's the fails or the successes. And most of the time I feel like it's fails. So yeah.
The fails that turn into successes somehow,
Yeah.
or then they're just complete fails, and then you're left scrambling, figuring out what to do next. Maybe that's more of a DM perspective at this point that I have so much more respect for now. Absolutely, which I know we'll get into that later on.
But would you describe yourself, Ashton, as a or which would you say you prefer, the structured tactical play or loose and narrative?
Uh, I think being brought into this game fast and loose, rule of cool, has been my mantra. Um, I don't think it's too fun. I mean, as a new player coming into this, trying to worry about weights, carrying capacity, all of these different worries and concerns. I think that could be interesting if we've been playing together like every single week since we were kids, right? That would bring another fold and aspect to it. But we are by no means experts in this game, not by a long shot. And so I think that there's a time and place for everything where we can introduce that. For right now, rule of cool, man. I think that if something makes sense, it makes sense. But also, like I think what we should be doing is working towards improving not only our knowledge in the game, but our knowledge of our characters and what's possible, and not trying to go beyond that. Um, so tactical is also something that I enjoy doing, like understanding what your capabilities are, what your spell slots are. Like if we wanted to start introducing like the verbal somatic material aspects into the game, I think that could be a nice, interesting way to start doing that for spellcasters. But as long as we're all on the same page, I like, I mean, coming from a military background, if we're going to go ahead and engage in a fight, I want to get the lay of the land first. I want to attack on my terms, not on somebody else's. So I enjoy that aspect of gameplay.
That's valid. That's valid. So you lead us into another segue. So the next general area we want to cover is experiences at the table. So I want to combine 6 and 7 together, or question 6 and question 7.
6, 7.
What's one memorable? Oh, Jesus Christ!
Somebody
Kids.
shoot me in the head. Oh, you can't say that on YouTube. Never
Yeah.
mind. Proceed.
Christ. What's one memorable moment from any campaign that has stuck with you? And what's something a DM has done that has really helped you to feel more immersed or involved?
Pissing on an invisible door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good moment. Oh man. No,
I'm pretty sure the way that whole thing went was that we were so stuck and didn't know what to do
yeah.
that a certain character just said, I don't know, I gotta relieve myself, and he pisses on a wall and then reveals a magical door of an armory.
Yep.
Like how hard we laughed that was the solution, if not just in a hilarious moment that was given to us by our dear Lord and Savior Ganj. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a great memory for sure.
there's there's so many moments, man. I definitely think the first campaign is gonna stick with us no matter how many campaigns we do, because we literally did that to get through deployment. We did it for so long. It was so impactful for many of us. And I guess to touch on that campaign is a good memory that I had beyond the relationship between Roland and Tuleron was a relationship with an NPC that I had and his wife. Vecrin, Vecrin was this like he's a dude that like ran a lumber camp or something, but I remember all the details. But he had a smoking hot wife and a bunch of kids, and in the end, this NPC literally died for us. He died for us at the gates of this castle or some fence or something. I don't know. I have it written down in the details, but I just remember he said some final words to me, and then I watched him die in a ball of flame from a dragon. Like that's pretty wild, and it was emotional, you know. And I think that's something that Gaunch here is really good at. Is really getting us in our feels and like um taking out my horse constantly with firebolts and making the team sacrifice things that your decisions matter, like you might think it's like a light decision, right, to open a door or to sacrifice a kobold or something. We've done it all, and every time it's dramatic on the response that you get, whether it's good or bad. And I guess that was my one of my favorite memories. Not that he died, but just how much it sticks with me. Now it was literally a character that you just made up, but he had such an impact on the campaign, on my character's story, and then my character got a hot wife out of it and a bunch of kids and a lumber camp. So like, it worked out. Thank you, Vecrin.
Dude, I'm just getting flashes of this campaign as you tell stories because it's funny how we just remember different aspects of it, you know?
Yeah.
Gosh. Um, I was gonna say, when a certain mage from my memory cast fireball and we fell through a floor and got caught through the rubble, pure chaos. Just never. I mean, just playing in a game. I mean, everything kind of almost seems straightforward. I mean, your options are out there, whatever you want to do, but never did I expect at one point that as one of our players was powering up his spell, I thought he's just gonna take out these other players. It's gonna be badass. Next thing you know, causes an explosion. We're falling through the floor, caught in the rubble. We can't see anything, and then like, what do? You don't see any of your friends around. How do you proceed? Do you fight? Do you escape? And then just being caught in each individual like happenstance of like, what's your decision? That was like, whoa, okay, that was a fun session right there. Um, the other thing that you do and you did really well is um, using the five senses. Squeak, squeak, like just the sound, like
Trauma.
something so basic instantly sparks an emotion in us. And that is one thing that I want to start trying to learn how to incorporate a little bit more. Um, for the listeners, squeak squeak is the sound that a certain baddie would make every time he made his appearance. You could hear him before he showed up. To the point where when we heard this, we knew something bad was going to happen. And we got instantly just angry and we wanted to murder, like every time. And so the fact that two words can invoke this emotional response, that is that makes me feel very immersed. Um, but yeah, thinking about the five senses, that's the way to go. What do I smell around me? What am I seeing? What do the walls feel like? I mean, maybe too much can be too much for me if I'm trying to like imagine what it comes to me. But I mean, just a couple of details is more than enough.
All right. So that leads into a question of what is something a DM as what's something a DM has done that hasn't worked for you guys?
Hmm.
I might cry, just keep
No,
that in mind. I might cry, like horrible tears, snot, everything,
I,
So, but
I,
no, what something's done that's not worked for you?
I'm gonna be honest. Like, gosh, I don't really have anything for you. Yeah, I don't really have anything. But other DMs or DM that I had, too much battle, so we got bored. And then we had another session that was just too much narrative, and so there was, other people got bored. And I guess if someone in your party is not having fun and they're sitting on their phone, you know, looking at Instagram the whole time, that's not great. So, um, yeah, that can bring down the whole party, and it can bring down the DM, which could affect the way that, the DM runs it or future games if there is any, because that could be the last straw.
Yeah, no, I definitely echo that sentiment as well. I mean, I think we've all seen it at one point or another. Um, but for me, also is, and you know this, but complex names of places and things. I mean, when I'm trying to keep a whole story straight, and let's be honest, we're having a couple. I'm what? What? I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I don't remember how to say this right now. What are we looking for
Yeah,
again?
I'm gonna tell you right now, listeners, if you don't have a team scribe, you're fucked.
You need someone to write this stuff down.
Yeah, and ask questions, clarify stuff, because like you just said, there's names and things, and they're gonna come up again, and especially like people, and sometimes Gonch here, you'll hear something in your first session, and then you won't hear it again until like the seventh session, and if you didn't write that shit down, you're gonna be so confused, and because it's very subtle, like the Dark Phoenix, bro. That was an insane story. We heard all these things, and it just kept building and building and building. We're like, what is it? What is it? And then we found out, and we were all like, whoa, that's crazy, Like, oh, man, I wish I could just watch a movie on our story because that was incredible. Someday.
Oh, you guys are too nice. Yeah, they're what the hell is it? Zareth, yeah.
All
And
right.
then when the DM will sometimes adds the same like letters into the names and they're just close enough. I apologize, Ashton. I owe you one.
So which one are we? Is this the dragon or I'm not sure.
Yeah. Uh, uh, if there's any new DMs or other DMs out there, don't fall in the same trap I do. Pick a whole different letter in the alphabet and start from there. But
I mean, you did do that.
So
it was just two different letters.
It's an attempt.
Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah.
So this next question is discussing boundaries and comfort level. So as a player, how do you prefer to communicate your boundaries or your comfort level as both a character and a player at a table?
So we talking from like a brand new table with people you're not familiar with, or a group of people that you've known for a while? Because I feel like there's two different approaches.
True. Where our dynamic internally is very different than what I would have. I have it with my other in-person table for sure. I guess from when you back in the day when you were a new player, what made you comfortable setting those boundaries, or that your boundaries were respected as a person and as a character?
It was hard for me. It was really hard for me because in the game I was just learning how to play and I was trying to play according to my character. But I think being a leader already in the real world and then taking on a similar role in the game made it frustrating in a make believe world just for some of the players because it just felt like it was more of the same. Um, so in that sense, I had to learn to like step back when I could and then give ideas and thoughts in the right timing. Um, I don't know if that's even coming across correctly or if that makes sense at all, but I know it makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, I'm tracking.
But yeah, um, I don't know. It's all tact. It's trying to understand where the issue is coming from, how to best approach that issue, giving it time to whether or not it is actually an issue or maybe it's something that you're overthinking, and then letting things play out too. Because on one side, you're dealing with our own personalities, we're also dealing with the personalities of our characters, and whether or not those characters' personalities are conflicting with real world personalities versus character personalities. So there's a lot to play with in that. It's a very complex things to deal with. So I would always say, if you're new, go to your DM, bring your concerns, but then give it time to work itself out before you make an issue of it.
Yeah, that's yeah. I agree with all of that. I think a session 0 is 100% required, whether you're new or a veteran player. Um, because that's your session where you get that understanding of who's playing what, or maybe you don't, right? Like, because things change, but at least you're there. You're learning the characters. You're learning, the basis of everybody's backstories, and you're communicating those boundaries. What's going to be allowed in the world, what's not. Um, but even then, you have to be receptive to change and adjustments as necessary. And there's so much in D&D that we've been playing for years, and we're learning new things. So you're never going to know everything. You don't know what you don't know. All these other people that you're playing with might have a different experience, whether it's real life or they've played before or whatever. So yeah, a lot of those factors can conflict. So it's at the end of the day, it's that closed loop communication between your team and your Gaunch, and making sure Gaunch is DM. Sorry, um, and just communicate what's our left and right limits. What can we be a little lax on, and that also depends on your DM, right? And what edition you're playing and what your world is based in, right? Because obviously, if we're in a medieval time or pirate themed, you're not gonna have ARs and frag grenades, So
This is now a podcast for veteran D&D players, just so you know.
yeah,
Sectors of fire, left and right limits.
yeah. Sorry. Adjust fire.
I gave him the warning at the beginning.
Yeah.
I gave him the warning at the
Yeah,
beginning.
I didn't see the op order. Oh man.
Actually, you did get the warno though. It was given to you written.
That's true. Yep.
Ugh.
But yeah,
For
session
those
0.
that haven't been in the military, those are very military related phrases. But session 0, you were saying.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to cover on that one, Ashton Pierce?
I could talk a lot, but no, I'm good. We'll have more of these.
All right.
Yeah, I would agree.
So-
Session is a big thing. Definitely to get everyone's understanding of how to play the game. Just general rules, questions that the players may have, and a way for the DM to address those questions, or even to like open up to the floor to see what everyone's comfortable with. Also, role play too. Not everyone's comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, trying to gauge how comfortable people are with that alone is super important to discuss.
Yep. I agree. 100%. You, especially out of a group, let's say 4 people, I guarantee you 1 in 4 is not going to want to do role play. I guarantee you.
Has
Whether
zero interest.
whether they suck at it or they just aren't confident enough, because I'm not gonna say I'm good at role play, but I enjoy it. But it also depends. Yeah, it also depends that you're just good at mind fucking people. All right. No, it depends. Also what's going on around them. Too. Some people got family members around or kids and stuff, and sometimes D&D can get a little wild and a little inappropriate. So it's situational, like everything. So just having that communication with your group is super important.
So the touching on role play leads us into learning and growth aspect of being a player. What was the hardest for you when you were brand new to the hobby?
Role play. um, Actually, I like what Ashton said earlier was in his first campaign. He was learning the game, so it was difficult to be a character, and then also he kind of fell into like the leadership role in the group, right? And so then he was facing some backlash from other characters that thought that he was just trying to be in charge of everything, when in reality it's just no one would make decisions. They just screw around, So sometimes you need that. So yeah, that. That's all I had on that.
Um, yeah, I would say that was a difficult dynamic, but I mean, I felt comfortable in that role, and I also feel comfortable stepping back because I mean, even as a leader, that's always been my approach to leadership is to lead from the front, but then also from the back and molding. So it's just like that was fine for me. I just didn't want other people to feel frustrated. Um, the most difficult thing for me was understanding what skill checks were, what the roles meant, like what dice to roll. Like I didn't understand the importance of the D20, like building a skill sheet, those types of things. So once we started playing, and especially with that session 0 and trying to understand, okay, this role is for that in this situation, this role is for that, and then you know once I understood that, it made the game a lot more fun. What was that
Those are
look
My
for?
fun.
little ones are screaming in the background.
Oh, can't hear him.
Sorry if you guys do hear that on the recording.
How dare you have children in life outside of the game? How
Yeah.
dare you?
Jeez.
How dare you?
Oh, actually, to circle back on that, um, you don't know where everyone's coming from, their backstory in real life, and their at-home situation. So that's a point of conversation that needs to come up, which is great for session 0 or in between sessions. And something that I think we do very well in our group is um, the DM or somebody will open up the chat prior to or stay late after session. Typically we block a 3-hour block for our session, and it's kind of, hey, we're here. How's it going? All right, let's get into it, and then we play. And then once we're done, um, if we didn't have a pre-session, we have a post-session, and we sit there and we talk about things. What went well? What didn't? What are our questions? What are we confused about? Let's nail down next time. And then we also take a step out of the game into real life and say, how you doing? So another tie to the mental health thing, which has become a big focus lately, in the last couple of years. So I think that's something that our party does really well. We've became more than just table mates and deployment buddies. We became like brothers. We're family, and so if you viewers are in that situation, I'm telling you, you stick with it. You're gonna meet some great people, and they're gonna become family. So I'm
I
not gonna
bet.
cry. I'm gonna cry.
Uh, Roll a dexterity check.
Oh shit! I don't have any dice. What I get?
10.
10.
You get the Kleenex stuck up your nose, and as your wife walks out of the room wondering why the hell you're crying, she turns and you have Kleenex hanging down out of your nose, and you look like an idiot.
Could be worse.
So it's an average Monday for
I'll
you.
play her a song. My performance is +9.
Roll
All
two.
right, so
Nat 1. Fuck.
par for the course. What advice would you guys give someone picking up D&D for the first time? either as something to buy, something for not to buy, what to bring, mindset to bring to the table, anything along those lines. It could be anything.
I would say, well, first things first is you just have to have an open mind, and the fact that if you're even here listening to this, you have an open mind. Second thing is just try it. If you're even considering it, thinking about it, just do it. It's easier when you have someone who knows what they're doing or at least has experienced it before. So if you're trying to do it fresh with no experience whatsoever, either have somebody or you be that someone to do a deep dive and just understand the basic rules because that's all you need is just the basic rules. When to roll a dice, a general story outline, and that's it. And you're gonna have a good time. It's really not much to it. I mean, it's a good time.
I think
I
that's
wish
some of the best
somebody
advice.
that I know will try it. I know. I'll get her. I'll
Well,
work.
she again the a Gaunt dream is a actual in-person party session yet again with the spouses and us all hanging out and having a good time. And then there's the players are helping the spouses as Gonch has a spouse session and watches they be badasses around the table, which I know they're badasses because they're all in your guys' life and you all are badasses. So
I don't think she realizes how much of a badass she is because I had such bad anxiety when trying to start my campaign on this side. And I mean, thank God for you and having you to go ahead and bounce things off of and ideas and just general worries. Um, but finally, she was I mean, and you let me run my obstacle course on you, which was awesome. But I wanted to do something random to see what would be thrown at me and how I could react to it. And so we were driving to a buddy's house of mine, and I'm just like, would you just let me try playing with you? And our session together with basically what she came up with is a highlight in my DMing experience. And it was literally just like an hour and a half of us just doing nothing really. We missed some turns. Yeah, we'll just say that. It was fun. It
no,
was a lot of fun.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I think we lost our Pierce to a actual real world encounter he has to deal with. So we're going to drive forward on to question 12. If you played under multiple DMs, what differences stood out to you and why?
Well, my note is I've only played under one, and that's you. I don't really have any
Yeah.
differences. So that
And
would be a Pierce question. Um,
Yeah.
However, I mean, I think also we could use this time, take a short break too if he's gone, and then come back because we can always cut this in the postscript, right?
yeah, or Pierce can. I have no idea how he's doing this, so.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
Uh, but the last question was, which I come to find out, the only one of my players who has not cheated on their Gonch so far has been my Ashton. So shout out to Ashton. But the next question was, if you played under multiple DMs, what differences stood out to you and why?
As a cheater, I think the experience was it made me oh man, this is crazy. It made me realize how good I had it. That sounds terrible. But honestly, it was cool. It was a good experience to go into a different group and I got to play a different character. I got to have a different DM. Um they were very narrative focused, which I thought I would like more because it's so narrative focused, but it was very like railroady, like it was very orchestrated. There was too many left and right limits. There wasn't a lot of decision making. It was kind of just like we're just there for the story, you know. Um, so there was that. It was less descriptive, surprisingly, for being more narrative, you know. And then the battle scenes were kind of stupid, um, because your roles didn't really matter. Um, it was kind of, it was just different. Like for example, I was like a 4-foot dwarf, and I killed like a 6-foot dude with like my dick, and yeah, because I got a nat 20. But like that doesn't just because you get a nat 20 doesn't mean you're always gonna kill someone with your penis. Um, it's just a possibility, you know. So that was definitely a difference. Whereas with our group, I feel like we're pretty well balanced, and there's that take of realism, but then there's also the points of like, uh, hey, I want to do this, you know, like what's an example? Like scaling a wall, right? In D&D, there are some things where like, oh, it's going to take a certain amount of turns, or you're going to have to do a certain thing, you know, and it's going to take this long or whatever. Or I could just be like, hey, because I'm athletic as like I'm a limber elf, you know, like I could get up this in real life pretty fast. Can I just roll performance and see if I can hop skip all the way up, you know, whatever in one turn and still make my attack? And you're just like, yeah, you know, but that doesn't always happen, you know. So that's, in the other campaign it was like you're just constantly winning, and you're not really making decisions. So whereas ours, there's real consequences. So I think that was a difference. I don't hate that DM though, and like I think it was a valuable experience. And then when I started DMing, that made me decide how I want to run my table as well. So
You get to take the good and the good and the bad and mesh it together.
yeah,
I mean, now that I think about
So
it, because initially you asked me that and cheated on you, but I have become a new DM myself, and your statement about how the story is more narrative and it feels kind of limited because you're trying to tell a story feels similar to what I'm trying to do with my new campaign. I took on a beast that I was never anticipating, but it just turned out to be. Um, and so realizing how much of a challenge being a DM is. And so, like, for example, I had a player who was in a back alley brawl, but he is a murder first, ask questions later type of player. And he rolls a nat 20 in a back alley brawl. And I just wanted this to be fists, you know? Even if they were trying to kill. And I had my NPCs say, hey, don't kill them. We have to turn them into the constable. But you know what? One NPC said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and murderous intent comes out. And I still feel bad about this, but one of the players rolls a nat 20, and he's going to go in for an attack roll. And I had one of my NPCs, who was a big part of the story, knock the axe out of the way. So it wasn't an instant success, and I felt really horrible about it, and it still haunts me to this day. But at the same time, man, like, you're trying to tell a story, you're trying to lead something somewhere, and how do you deal with players railroading it, even though they know, hey, they're not taking hints? And so that's an interesting thing that I'm kind of taking on is, do you let things go as a DM and just get pounded, or do you try to get to the story? I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I think we can DM roundtable this very briefly. We'll come back to the next setup will be table culture, but I'm going to jump in on this one because this was session 1 or session 2 for you? Session 2. So some background. Ashton is taking on Strahd as his first run. So again, major hats off to you, my god man. As a new DM and figuring out your style and figuring out whatever, I think you made the right call because again, you have a table full of very new players who don't that aren't fully aware of the nuances, right? Like I would maybe I as a DM for you guys would go, yeah, okay, I had plans with this guy, but kill him and I'll figure something else out, right? But for the situation you're in, and especially because Strahd is such a massive book and so complicated, making the right call because it's not just about that one player at that point; it's about the overall party. So if you'd have to set back the party's overall progressions for that player to have that one moment. There's that fine balancing act. Is my personal take as a DM on it.
Yeah.
But
And some spoilers for Strahd for those of you maybe that haven't played it. I think you guys haven't played it either. But I ran into an unfortunate situation where one of my players couldn't show up. So I had to create something very off kilter to what actually happened. Um, a bit of the lore. You got Strahd von Zarovich, who is the big baddie vampire guy, in love with this woman, Tatiana, who was actually in love with his brother, Sergei. And so I did this whole flashback because, we're all adults here. We have a hard time getting together. So it's just like, how can I get as much story time in as possible in these short sessions where we can meet only like once every 3 months, right? And so we did this whole flashback, and I really wanted to hit home that Sergei was a good guy. You know, he wanted to uphold the law compared to his brother, just the nicest out there. So, because he comes up a little bit later on, and I did some foreshadowing, but we'll see how that turns out. But that's what I really wanted to hit home, that he was that type of character, so he saved the guy even though that they were trying to kill him, and that's why I decided to do what I did. Still feel bad about it because I went up to my player afterwards. I'm like, hey, I know you got a nat 20, and I feel bad. He goes, yeah, that was kind of fucked up, man. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, but no, I get it, because that was the second session two where he wanted to murder two of my NPCs. The last time he murdered a different guy, right? And they had to do this whole thing where they were trying to hide a body, and I didn't need another session trying to hide a body.
I'm sensing a
So,
trend with this character. There's always
yeah,
one.
there is always one, but it made some memories. Sorry, I'm railroading and going on tangents.
no, you're good. You're good. I again, this is again, if you made it this far into the podcast, y'all, one, I appreciate y'all for sitting here listening to us ramble. I hope you're appreciating how awesome these guys are. And two, and just kind of the whole intent of this is to show what our table has. One, because these guys are such good dudes, and two, just this is what you can. I feel like this is a healthy table. I'm biased, but I feel like this is really a healthy table. We have a good way of looking at things. So, yeah, this is just our perspective on things, and we support each other in game and out of game in these type of situations. Again, if I ran into this situation here, etc. So, just wanted to take it. I wanted to ask Pierce if he had anything from a DM standpoint to add on this before we went back into the interview portion. But
No, I'm good. We can push. We can push to the next topic.
okay, so this segues into table culture. What makes a gaming group feel welcoming or unwelcoming?
Oh, me. Welcoming. Mm, I don't know. This is hard because we got such a good crew, so it just kind of we just mold. I don't know. I think communication's big. I said it before. That session zero is a big deal. You're gonna find out whether there's gonna be problems or not, probably right away. But if you don't, right, and stuff comes up, you don't like someone's play style after a couple sessions, having the um, I guess I don't know a better way to say it. Having the balls to either confront the person before or after, right, or bring it up to your DM and just be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing from my foxhole. My God, from my perspective, what do you see? How can we address it? Is it really an issue, or am I just making it an issue? Um, so that, but I guess a real world example was when we started this campaign that we're doing now, the new world. We didn't know Ganch's buddy, so all of us from the MOB we're all buddies and we already kind of knew our play styles and like each other. And now we had this other guy, and the DM knew him, but we didn't know him. And so like I felt some mistrust initially, like I remember me and Ashton were talking about it, DMing each other like, what do you think about this guy? So, but Weaver, if you're watching this, we love you, and we'll keep you, we'll keep you around. But yeah, it's just sometimes it's tough, and you gotta
Only
address
a
those
lizard
things.
boy didn't help Weaver.
Yeah. Um, but you gotta have those relationships, right? And just communicate. Honestly, that's the biggest thing. If you got a problem, squash it right away. Don't let it fester. It's just gonna ruin your table, and it could ruin someone's entire tabletop gaming experience, and they might never play it again. And that's not what we want, especially here at this table. We're trying to bring people in. We're trying to show what this is. It's an endless just plethora of adventure and fun and excitement, brotherhood, all those words and more. I feel like I just ran.
Ashton, what's your take on that?
No spark notes. You hit the nail on the head. No, yeah, the beginning was kind of interesting too, and I kind of already touched on it a little bit, was earlier on, is trying to understand. I mean, at the beginning of a campaign, we certain people put way more into their backstories than others, and some people are trying to figure out who their character is as they're going along. Some kind of may have figured out some aspects, and some has fleshed it out to a point where it's stupid. Okay, that's me. And I'm doing my best to play according to this convoluted character that I have created. And he's button heads. And I can't tell whether or not I'm button heads with another character or another person. And so, like,
Yeah.
I deal with that same thing too. And I'm like, I might be able to think of things. I don't know yet. Well, we got to flesh things out. So that's what I was saying. Like, you just got to give it time to warm up, because you can't just have a group of people, an adventure group, or just a group of players come together immediately and have no issues. Like, you got to have issues and work through them to thrive in adventure. And sometimes you might find that in your DM group, and you might find that in your party in game. So that's all I have to say about that.
I remember those DMs. Those were good times. We worked through it. We worked through it.
Yeah, I think one more thing on that is that pre or post session banter. That's a good thing to kind of alleviate some of those issues, right? Where like we could play for 3 hours and there's some tension between like Ashton and my character, right? But then after the fact, we're outside of our characters. Now we're talking as people, like hey, like, are we good? Like, are we actually fighting, or is it just our characters? Like, it sounds stupid, but if you're playing the game right, you're going to be passionate about it. And every decision that you make or what someone else does that could affect the entire campaign. And so like that can get you really pissed if someone does something really stupid, like charge down a hallway after slitting their wrists when we were trying to not do that. So there's certain things that happen that have consequences, and then you just got to make sure you close those out after the session or before or whatever. Another thing that we did was for our campaign is we took Gonch out of it, actually. We started a chat between all the players and not the DM that we can use in game and out of game to discuss things. Mainly, it's been that T-shirt that the Gonch is wearing right now, but in other things, it's just to take the god out of it, so he doesn't know what we're thinking about at the lower level, and then so we can kind of communicate and be like, what am I missing? What do you know? Did I miss something? Whatever. And we call it the Gaunchless Gallows. But yeah, I think having those times to chat and to have that source of discussion is super important for alleviating those issues.
I think that's the first time we found out about the Gaunchless Gallows.
No, I told him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't fucking know. I might have.
I was where you guys are hiding shit behind my back. I'm like, okay, I got you. I know what's gonna happen to your dice rolls now. Yeah, see what
I
happens.
mean, it's D&D, man. We're all hiding shit from each other.
That is so true, bro. I told you, you
Yeah.
never know. You never know the true person that you're playing with.
I mean, Pierce, Rocket.
Oh my god. I was so mad for so long that I couldn't speak Draconic, and you guys are messing with me. See?
Okay, so at this point, I think your character has learned enough Draconic,
Yeah.
and what I was, and I told Gansh this right away, but what I taught you was, I'm an idiot.
Oh, so I've been saying I'm an idiot for
And you kept on saying, I'm an
literally a
idiot,
year.
and because you were saying Vlokith, and then I
Vlokith.
would say Rocket, because I would say, you're an idiot.
Yeah, Vlokith. Oh man, I'm pissed. All right, so here's some real world interaction that you're getting, and it's going to be in the next session. Coming for that ass.
So that's a good segue to what makes you feel comfortable contributing at a table.
Not that. I hope you choke. What was it? Comfortable to bring stuff to the table?
What makes you, what about a table makes you feel comfortable as a player contributing?
Well, I'm pretty outgoing. I can kind of talk my way out of the box, so there's that. But also, other people interacting, right? Um, if your whole group is being stagnant and not really doing a lot, not role playing, not really caring, or they're desensitized to some of the stuff that's happening, like big events that they should be like, whoa, this is a problem, or like, wow, that's really good. And if they're just kind of like, or they're sitting there and they're just scrolling, like, that stuff's not welcoming. So as long as you don't have that, and then if you do have a character, right, that's kind of sitting in the background, something that I really like that you do, Gonch, is you go around the table and you ask everyone, what's your character doing right now? What, like, because a lot of times it's Ashton and I doing some BS, and there's probably an elf running around hitting things with his pretty stick, and and then you might not have the other character doing anything, because that's just their play style. They kind of sit in the back and they wait. They don't speak unless spoken to, and it's not a bad quality. It's just their character, right? But the DM ensures that everyone's participating and that we know that there's still something going on, and everyone's included. So that's huge.
I got nothing to add if you're looking at me. That's it.
All right.
It's either you're participating and you're engaged and enjoying what's happening, or you're expressing disinterest or you're quiet, right? Because like most of us have kind of had one or two of those experiences where someone's just like sad or upset because the attention's not directly on them at all times. You know, they don't have the wherewithal to kind of think about, hey, you need to spread the wealth, right? But then also like I think a big thing for making it feel welcoming is celebrating everybody else's accomplishments or time to shine, if you will.
For
So if
sure.
you get excited with them, I mean that makes them excited, being like, I'm here, I'm in this, I matter to this game. And I think that's the key thing.
Yeah.
Time to shine.
Oh, I definitely agree.
I agree. And I got one more thing too is being that I have kids, having a table that understands the real world needs, right? We've had a couple people going to school, we've had a couple people changing jobs, and we got people with kids, and that's a big deal when your table can adapt and change their schedule, and deal with me having to turn the camera off every once in a while to go put the kids to bed or eat or whatever. Like, I know from a player standpoint, that's huge. That makes this table unique more than anything else I've ever been a part of. But also, my spouse, appreciates the fact that I can walk away from it as well if needed. Although she's amazing and she tries not to bother me. But the reality is sometimes I got to help out, and so to have a table that lets that happen and doesn't have a problem with it is huge.
As much as we try to make you pay for having a a life outside of gaming. Unfortunately, we have to acknowledge the fact that real life comes first. You know, your guys' families, you have partners, you have kids, you have lives. That definitely takes place of any story because that is your primary story. So, at
T-shirt
least
worthy.
that's my personal take on it. So we covered what makes you guys feeling comfortable at contributing to the table. So what expectations do you guys have as a player for your DM and your fellow players? Either at the table or outside of game.
No, yeah. I mean, I think you've done a really good job of it, and this is actually something I want to try to do better with my own campaign is session notes, do outs. Like you're really good at communicating. Um, almost to a point where I have a hard time keeping up. You do a fantastic job. And also you do a great job at like bringing in the real world to it as well. Just like personal hobbies, things that you're working on, different things. And so it's always the whole server's keeping us engaged, whether it's the session or not the session. Um, that's awesome. Uh, I don't think everyone can maintain that expectation of every DM, but you do exceptionally well at that. The players, just do your best to show up, and when you're there, be present. Be present and enjoy, right? Because we all play this game for one reason or another, and remember why you're there. And honestly, when it comes to time to shine, it all is driven from up here and what we create in our mind to create a story. And so if you feel like you're not providing enough within the story, all you have to do is just think of something creative or outlandish. Because chances are it's going to be funny and the group is going to find it hilarious and you guys are going to have fun with it. So that's all I got.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike Pierce?
Expectations of a DM. I have a lot. Just kidding. No. I think I think my quote. So, can I say my quote? The one that we had talked about. Yeah. All right. So, I was trying to pull it up here while you were chatting. So, I said in a previous kind of chat that we had was that a DM creates the story, but the story creates the DM. And I think that's my expectation of a DM. They are there to set the scene and create the world and narrate and navigate some components of it. Um, and they create that story, but then the story that the players are in, if they're enjoying it and it's memorable and meaningful, that's what creates a good DM. And so I stand by the quote. I guess my expectations is just ensuring that they can tell a good story and that everyone's enjoying it, and you create some good and everlasting memories. And players, stop trying to fuck everything. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, same thing. You know, communicate, be on time as much as you can, and be open to different things. Right? Try new things. Um, and I expect a player to try to role play a little bit, whether you're good at it or not. Give it a shot. You never know what you're capable of.
Oh, those are good ones. Those are good ones. So now we're into the tail end of the player portion, which is looking forward. So what do you guys still want to explore or try in future campaigns? Is it a particular class, a particular arc?
I would like to experience every class at some point.
Yeah.
That's a time driven thing. So we'll just have to do a couple campaigns. Also, like maybe even some one shots. I know there's some pretty good ones out there to try and run. Um, I wouldn't mind even like running it, or like if we could have a couple of one shots within our own campaign. If somebody can't make it, like let's just put the story on pause here and there and run something or a smaller idea that you have in mind. We can make some backup characters. I think that would be fun. I don't know, not really expectations for anything, but I just want to stay in the world, man. I want to keep playing.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would like to try doing a spellcasting class um, for a run. I think that would be interesting because I've done uh, done ranger, I've done fighter, barbarian, and now bard. So I think it'd be cool to try one of those spellcasting classes where it's kind of my main, because I don't really like spellcasters because they're kind of a headache and they're squishy. So, but it'd be unique to, yeah, shut up. It'd be unique to try a different take on it. I'm talking like wizard or sorcerer type thing, you know. I think that'd be neat. I probably wouldn't like it, but it'd be a good experience. And then also it'd help me as a DM because I'd probably learn some spells instead of having to look it up every 5 seconds.
Hey man,
So,
just make a really fun backstory and that'll carry you.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then the other thing, not necessarily in the game, one of my dreams that I want to do is I want to publish a book, and I want it to be one of our D&D stories. And I think honestly the one that's going to happen first is going to be the New World, written by Pierce O'Clair. Um, but I'd love to write the Lords of Ash eventually as well because that was our first campaign, and it would take a lot of brains to finish both. I'd need some help from you guys, but it's definitely something that I've started. And we got a million irons in the fire over on this end, so I'll get there eventually. But that is one of my things I'd like to do.
Every year you wait is another thing I forget. I promise you.
Dude, I know. It's so bad.
You're reminding me of aspects of that first campaign that I shadow of a memory. You know,
Do you remember?
those are some dark days, my friend. Those are some dark days.
Indeed, indeed. Do you remember your nemesis,
Oh yeah, Ambrose.
Ambrose, and the white dove?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
that was great.
the funny part was that I guess he was only supposed to make a single session appearance,
Yeah,
and the visceral reaction that I apparently took from that inspired his character
his entire
into being
arc.
more involved in the whole session. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's when I learned I had a knack for role play.
yeah. You were pissed, straight pissed.
Dude, I hate Ambrose, man.
I got a funny. I think it was near when the end of Ambrose. You were like inside of like a cage or something, and I like pulled a lever. Do you remember that? I like pulled a lever and you fell
Clearly,
like through the floor or something. You were so mad at me because you were just gone. You were gone. And yeah, I think you fell into the room with him or something. I don't know. I got a loose memory of it, but I just remember that and you were really mad at me and it was great. I was so happy with my mistake.
I don't remember this at all.
I'll have to, it's in the notes. We'll have to pull up the notes.
Okay,
Yeah.
honestly, we might have to because first off, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right?
Yep.
What already a lifetime ago from all of the things we've been through at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you were a PFC then specialist, and now you're a staff sergeant.
Yep. Yeah, I'm literally like where you were when we deployed. It's pretty wild.
How many years have you been in now?
It'll be 9. Yeah,
Yeah,
9
yep.
years. Yeah, and 3 active. So
17 to go.
No
yeah.
doubt.
So
Oh,
to
actually,
close out
a little more.
this part, to close out this portion of the player interview, you both are DMs, and damn good DMs, if I can say so myself. So you guys have ran games. What part of your player experience shaped how you run your games?
I over prepared my first session.
Yeah.
Man, did I over prepare.
Feel that.
And my session went so well. It was a 8 or 9 hour session.
Yeah, it was
It
a
went so
marathon.
well.
Dude. It was a
I
marathon.
don't think anything will ever top my first session. And I feel like I almost had like a panic attack at my second one because I'm like, it needs to live up. But like I don't think I can ever do that. It was a blast. We were hammered. We were having a good time. Literally, no one wanted to stop. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and we needed to end it. And I didn't expect how bad these guys were, but fantastic at the same time. It was good. I don't know. I'm glad I did it. It was so much work, but I'm so glad I did it. I had a blast.
Yeah, I think from my player experience and just how much I enjoyed it, creating that story and making each character make those tough decisions, bringing that into my own campaign of really making like what are you really doing? You know, I the daunting phrase of a DM that a DM can say to you is, "What do you do?" You know, or roll for initiative, you know, like shit like that, where I'm just as a player, I'm just like, oh no, you know, like it's impactful. So making sure that I'm getting those moments in my campaign when I'm running it, you know, taking a look around the table, who's enjoying it? Are there do you see the wheels turning? Is there smoke coming out? You know, like are they really thinking and are they in it? You know, and so being a player, you just try to recreate an amazing experience that we've had with you and I try to bring that to my table.
You're both bastards. I just want you to know that, but I love you both. Um, I just wanted to check. We're coming up on to 9. So, gentlemen, this has been a great. It's getting late now. We're going to cut this here for just how you guys have been players. I want to personally thank you both for taking the time to sit here and bullshit with me about your experience as a player. Not making me cry. That was also a highlight of my night. And sharing a bit of what makes this table cool and this hobby cool to me, and so not enjoyable. It is enjoyable, but so fulfilling to me as a participant of the hobby is the fact that you guys show up and you show up the way you guys do. Um, I know I mentioned it in my videos before. Like three of my players started. Three of my players started as brand new players and now DM. One of them isn't here; he's currently overseas. But you two are, again, proudest hobby moment is that I have two badass DMs that started at my table and now are telling stories of theirs. So I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to hearing that in the next session.
Awesome.
Thanks, Coach.
But
Thanks, Scotch.
everyone else, thank you for coming and joining us at the table. May your dice roll smoothly and your paint flow well until we talk to you all next time. Thank you, guys.